Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Sports Deep Dive Podcast. I am your host, Rogers Harrison. I am joined today by Brian Koperick. Brian, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Rogers. How are you?
I'm very well, very well. Brian, we're going to talk about an Italian car maker.
Ooh.
We're going to talk about the old Lamborghini. And before anyone says, well, that has nothing to do with sports, yeah. Lamborghini does have stuff to do with sports. So let's get started. Now, before we begin, I just want to let you know, first of all, that we are still a commercial-free podcast. We do that so you can listen to us and get on with your day. Or maybe you listen to us at the end of the day and you're not interrupted by any boring ads. Also want to say to you that we're going to talk about Lamborghini, and there are some Italian names and phrases and places, and I will try to do my best to pronounce those correctly, but I just want to apologize in advance to the Italian community who is listening that I apologize. Italian is not my first language. And so there might be some butchering of places. So please bear that in mind.
Be kind in the comments.
Yes, there you go. All right, so let's talk about Ferruccio Lamborghini. Ferruccio Lamborghini was born to grape farmers on April 28th in 1916. So we're going back a ways.
Oh, yeah.
It was born in northern Italy. Now, according to his baptismal certificate, Ferruccio was baptized as a Roman Catholic 4 days later on the 2nd of May.
Well, as would be the custom.
Yep. Now, as a young man, Lamborghini was drawn more to farming machinery rather than the farming lifestyle itself.
Yep.
So it kind of sounds like you. You like to tinker with the machines as opposed to, mowing the grass or...
Yeah.
Playing with the flowers.
Yeah, I do like the machines.
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, following his interest in mechanics, Lamborghini studied at the Fratelli Talida Technical Institute near Bologna.
Okay.
In 1940, he was drafted into the Italian Royal Air Force, where he served as a mechanic at the Italian garrison on the islands of Rhodes.
Okay, that makes sense.
So you got this guy, he's born to grape farmers, and you would think, if you're born to grape farmers, then maybe you're interested in wine. Maybe you become a wine connoisseur, but no, he's more interested in the machinery. He's working on things. He's drafted into the Italian Royal Air Force, where he becomes a mechanic.
Okay.
So the Germans, when the Germans turned on their former Italian allies in September of 1943, those pesky Germans, most soldiers either fled or among the 30,000 Italians captured as prisoners of war. Now, Lamborghini initially escaped capture, but later returned to his former workplace in civilian clothes, working several odd jobs, and with the permission of the German forces, opened a small vehicle workshop.
Okay.
So, Germans, stabbed the Italians in the back, which, that was the case back in World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And so, most soldiers either fled or there were some that were captured as prisoners of war. Lamborghini initially escaped capture, but like I said, he said, you know what, I'm going to go back to that German store and I'm going to still work on those things because that's what I know. When the island fell to the British at the end of the war in 1945, he was arrested as a collaborator and was not able to return home to Italy until the following year.
Okay.
I don't know why he just didn't say, they forced me to work on this tank engine. Yeah, that's what happened. But he was arrested as a collaborator. Now, In 1946, he married Cecilia Monte, a native of Ferrara, whom he met in Rhodes during the war. And now on October 13th, 1947, their son Tonino was born. But Cecilia died giving birth. Now here's a little side note. Tonino would go on later to design a collection of clothing and accessories under the Totino Lamborghini brand.
Ah.
So he did not
Follow
his dad's mechanical. He became a clothing designer.
You know, I don't. This may be a spoiler to later conversations, but the whole thing where he was a farmer,
right,
brings light to something that I know that a lot of people probably don't know, is that Lamborghini actually makes tractors.
They do make tractors, and way to skip to the end. Okay, well, I guess no one needs to hear anymore. Oh my gosh. In 1948, Lamborghini met Anita Borgate, a 24-year-old teacher and daughter of the owners of the Fontana Hotel in Cento, who would accompany him, Anita, in running the business for over 30 years.
Wow.
So, you know, he didn't let moss grow. I mean, he's like, hey, go ahead and.
He's still a young guy at that point, though.
Let's see, 1916, 1948. So that's 32.
Yeah.
You met a 24-year-old. All right, you go. So Lamborghini's passion for engines and machines led him to work in a company that overhauled military vehicles. In 1946, the growing demand for tractors in the Italian market, way to skip to the end, combined with the experience gained in repairs, pushed Lamborghini to pursue a career as an entrepreneur in the production of tractors.
Yeah.
You feeling good about yourself now?
Well, yeah, because that's a little known fact. Most people that know the name Lamborghini, you know, we know what they think about. It's not tractors.
It's not tractors.
It's not tractors.
He bought surplus military vehicles from the war and transferred them into agricultural machines from a garage in Pie de Centos. Lamborghini modified an old Fiat Topolino he had purchased, the first of many he would own. And in his spare time, he made tractors, which would be the first Lamborghinis he would make.
Yeah.
So it was the tractors first, and not the cars that bore the Lamborghini name.
Yep.
So in 1947, using parts from military vehicle engines and different roles from ARAR centers, Lamborghini built his first of his Caraco tractors, themselves based on the 6-cylinder petrol engines of Morris trucks.
Okay.
So the Morris trucks, people had the 6-cylinder gas engines, basically, and then he
took that
and then, you know, modified it, and boom, it's in his tractors. So as gasoline was largely priced, Lamborghini augmented the Morris engines with a fuel atomizer of his own creation.
Yep.
Which allowed the tractors to be started with gas, then switch to the cheaper diesel fuel.
Yep.
I'm going to say that again.
Switch.
No, not that.
That it was cheaper.
Cheaper diesel fuel, where today in 2025, the diesel is not cheaper.
Right, because diesel is actually garbage fuel. Like gasoline is a much purer fuel. That's why
he called garbage.
Hey, I'm just saying.
You're garbage.
But the deal is with diesel, because it can be combusted a whole lot more, or it can be compressed a lot more than gasoline. It can actually provide a bigger explosion on the back end. Gasoline's a lot purer, so it's a lot more volatile. It has less oil in it, so to speak.
The more you know. All right, so based on the initial success of this, Lamborghini founded the Lamborghini Trattore and began manufacturing tractors.
Yeah.
All right, so you're probably wondering, well, this is all great and all, but where do the cars come in? Well, slow your roll, Brian.
Okay.
Slow it.
I'm slowing down. But
Jeez.
we're talking about Lamborghini. We got to go fast.
Okay. So Lamborghini's increasing wealth allowed him to purchase faster, more expensive cars than the tiny Fiats he had been tinkering with, right? So he owns cars such as Alfa Romeo. Well, I think you've heard of them. During the early 50s, and at one point, he had enough cars to use a different one every day of the week.
Nice. My kind of guy.
He had a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL, a Jaguar E-Type Coupe, and two Maserati 3500 GTs.
Woo. Those are some hot cars even today.
You like those?
Oh, yeah. The Jaguar E-Type is one of my favorite body styles. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Hey, you got something, you got a little drool on your lip there. You might want to wipe that off.
And the old Maseratis weren't half bad either.
Yep. In 1958, Lamborghini went to buy a Ferrari 250 GT, a two-seat coupe with a body designed by coach builder Pininfarina. He went to own several more over the years, including a Scaghetti designed 250 GT SW Berlinta and a 250 GT 2x4 seater. So he's got quite the car collection.
Yeah.
Lamborghini thought Ferrari's cars were good, but they were a little bit noisy and rough to be proper road cars. They were mostly racing vehicles.
Yeah, that's fair assessment.
So, and he categorized them as repurposed track cars with poorly built interiors.
That is also fair.
Yeah. So he was like, because race cars are just stripped down. It's basically
the light as possible.
Yeah, it's basically the driver's seat.
No creature coverings.
Right. Now NASCARs have the driver's seat, maybe a roll bar, and that's, all the equipment needed to talk to the pit crew. Hey, go around the curve. Slow down, slow down. All right. So Lamborghini thought Ferrari's cars were equipped with inferior clutches, required continuous trips for rebuilds. Technicians would go and perform the work for several hours. I mean, and Lamborghini was like, I can't be doing this. I can't be going off to get these Ferraris fixed and, spending all day. And it's just, this isn't working. So, and you know how you go to a car dealership and the car salesman's like, hey, it's like, and butters you up, and it's like, oh, you're good. You're a nice friend, Paul, for selling me this car.
Yeah.
I just made up a name, Paul.
Right.
But then once you buy the car, Paul disappears, and then you've got to work with the service department and the body shop, and they're like, we can fit you in next Tuesday, whatever. So, and that's the thing that Lamborghini felt. He felt that the after-sales service for these Ferraris was just awful.
Okay.
And so, all right, so here you got a guy that's got a car collection. And he's got Mercedes-Benz, he's got Jaguars, he's got Maseratis, he's got Alfa Romeos, and he's got these Ferraris that he obviously likes, but they're like, no, they're built for racing. They're not built for the street. And what's going on? So this is what he did. He modified one of his personally owned Ferrari 250 GTs to outperform the stock models. And then he gained the knowledge to pursue an automotive manufacturer venture of his own. We're getting close. So calm down.
I'm good.
Calm down.
Good.
Lamborghini also know that he could make triple the profit if the components used in his tractors were installed in a high-performance exotic car. So Lamborghini starting to sound like Tim Allen's character, Tim the Toolman Taylor,
Right.
who would take these big machines and then like put them in a vacuum cleaner.
Right.
And it's just like, hey, now you can vacuum the entire house in 15 minutes or whatever. Hang on. Sorry, I lost my place. So here we go. So Lamborghini founded the Lamborghini Company in 1963. All right. So you're thinking, wow, I'm an old guy. That doesn't, that's not too long ago. 1963. Right. Founded in 1963, and his objective was to compete with the Ferraris.
Right. He wanted to be at the top of the echelon.
Right. And which is funny because he liked Ferraris obviously because he had some lying around the shop where they drove. Now, so the company's first models were introduced in the mid '60s and were noted for their refinement, their power, and their comfort. He gained wild acclaim in '66 for the Murray Sports Coupe. Established a rear mid-engine, rear-wheel drive.
Right.
And that was the standard layout for high-performance cars during that time.
Kind of still is.
Mm-hmm. So, all right. So he opened up in 1963, but during the '70s. His companies began to run into financial difficulties.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard about this.
In 1971, the Lamborghini Trattore, which exported around half of its production of tractors, ran into trouble when its South African importer canceled all its orders. In Bolivia, the new military government, which had recently staged a successful coup, canceled a large order of tractors that was being prepared for shipment. Now, Trattore's unionized employees could not be laid off because they're unionized.
Right.
Then that put an immense strain on the company because you
lose all that sale.
Right. The way you cut costs in the company, unfortunately, is you let some people go and
right.
you eliminate jobs and stuff. And, we probably want to thank you for working here, but, you got to go.
Right. You don't have to stay here, would you?
Yeah. We're tired of you always eating the muffins in the break room, so stop it. So here we go. In 1972, Lamborghini sold his entire holding in the company to rival tractor builder Same. Soon the entire Lamborghini group found itself in financial trouble, and development at the automaker slowed as costs were cut. So it's weird to me is that, all right, so he started out with this tractor company, and the tractor company was kind of financing the car company.
Oh yeah.
And to me, he sold instead of selling the car company, he sold the tractor company, which I don't know. It just seems that.
Oh, it's backwards. Right?
Yeah,
it's totally backwards. But his passion was the cars, so that's why he stuck with the cars.
Right.
He's like, I'm tired of the tractors, but not real good business sense in the fact of this one is funding that one.
Well, he had. There's examples of businesses that have been propped up by other business in their portfolios. Mm-hmm. Like for the longest time, and you're going to think I'm plumb crazy. For the longest time, like newspaper companies owned maybe radio stations or TV stations, right? And for a while, like in the 50s and the 60s, the print was the one holding up
Oh, right.
the radios and the TV
yeah.
properties.
Yeah.
And then it switched to where now the print is being held up by the electronic media.
Yeah.
In some cases, some of those
Print
sold.
is gone.
Yeah, they've sold their print
Yeah.
properties. All right. 1973,
Okay.
oil crisis.
Yeah.
You know what the oil crisis did?
What?
Well, it kind of hit the sales of high-performance cars, manufacturers all over the world. So not just Lamborghini, but all the ones that we just mentioned, the Ferraris, the Alfa Romeos, everybody, the Jaguars.
This is when the Japanese really started gaining traction with their little bitty fuel-efficient cars.
Are you not listening?
I'm listening.
It was the oil crisis.
It was the oil crisis. The
I
oil
mean-
crisis is what gave them the ability. Okay.
This
Oil
is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
So consumers would flock to the smaller, more practical models
Yeah.
of transportation, right? The ones with better fuel economy, not these high-performance race cars and
Gas guzzlers.
yeah. So by 1974, Ferruccio had become disenchanted with the car business. Right. I mean, because it started out as a hobby for him, and you know, and it's not like
Now he's got.
it's not like he had an assembly line of stuff going on. I mean, you know, he would build a certain number of cars a year, and you know, it's not like, you know, there were thousands and whatever.
Yeah.
So he cut all connections with the cars that bore his name. He sold the remaining 49% stake. The shares were acquired by René Lemer.
Okay.
The company went bankrupt in 1978. So 1963, Lamborghini was founded and started. Right, as the car company, right? And, you know, separate from the tractor company. 1978, 15 years later, it's bankrupt. So the company went bankrupt 78, placed in the receivership of brothers Jean-Claude and Patrick Morin. So it was placed in the receivership of brothers in 1980, who purchased the company for $3 million US. So think about that, $3 million.
Which in the 70s or 80s, early 80s, was a ton of money, but not that much today.
Let's see, you brought that up, so I'm going to tell you how much that would be today. Would you like to know?
I would.
1980. So $3 million back in 1980 would be like $11 million today. So still not a bad price for an entire car.
Right, company.
Car company. So they renamed it Nova Automobile Lamborghini SPA. So Patrick Morin, you know, one of the brothers, became the CEO and the president. He said, you know what? We're going to rebuild this company, and what we're going to do is we're going to expand. We're going to send it out to the world, and he is the one that's being credited for saving Lamborghini. So under his management, Lamborghini's model line was expanded from the Countach, which I think is one of the popular cars.
It is.
To include the Jalpa and that was the entry. That's like an entry-level sports car. And the LM002, which is the high-performance off-road vehicle. And I see you're drooling again, so stop it.
No.
I mean, it's a high-performance off-road vehicle that has Brian written all over it.
It does, but not my cup of tea.
Well, so Patrick Moran sold Lamborghini to the Chrysler Corporation in 1987 for $25 million. All right, so he bought it for $3 million. 7 years later, sold it for $25.
Yeah. $22 million in profit.
Yes.
Boom shakalaka.
Now, after replacing the Contrach with the Diablo and discontinuing the Japa and the LM002, Chrysler sold Lamborghini to Malaysian investment group Mycom Sedeco, an Indonesian group V-Power Corporation in 1994.
Yep.
So, I mean, I'm not a businessman, but I just don't know why Chrysler sold Lamborghini.
Chrysler was, I think at that time, having a little bit of trouble.
Well, yeah.
And so they offloaded it to
this Malaysian group.
Get rid of the like they needed to offload stuff. Chrysler's got a pretty storied, which they all do. I mean, the auto industry's up and down, and so yeah.
Right, and Chrysler owns your favorite brand, Jeep.
Where exactly, but they didn't always, and
right.
They've been bought and sold. I don't know. I'd like to say more than any other car company out there, but yeah. All
right. So in 1998, Mycom Sedeco and V-Power sold Lamborghini to the Volkswagen Group.
Yep.
And it was placed under the control of Audi, Volkswagen.
Yep.
New products and model lines were introduced, and this increased productivity. So if I'm Lamborghini, the car company, I'm feeling good.
Right.
Because Volkswagen, 1988, 1998, good reputation, makes some great cars, puts under the Audi division, which is Volkswagen's luxury brand. And
Volkswagen's got a history in the high-performance car industry with partnerships with Porsche and other things. So, yeah, you got to feel good about it.
All right, so let's go back to the man.
Right.
So you're probably wondering, what happened to Lamborghini? What's all this stuff going on? Well, after departing the automobile manufacturing business, Lamborghini continued his business activities in other areas, including the heating and air conditioning company, Lamborghini Calor. In 1969, he founded Lamborghini. I'm going to butcher this, and I'm so sorry. Ole Domenica SPA, a manufacturer of hydraulic valves and equipment. Again,
staying with the machinery. He loves it.
He's like your soulmate there, Brian. In 1974, though, he exited the industrial world and retired to a 740-acre estate named La Friota in central Italy. Returning to his farming roots, Lamborghini delighted in hunting and producing his own wines. He even designed his own golf course, all the while continuing to manage the several business interests that he had. Lamborghini fathered a child, Patrizia, at the age of 58.
Not bad.
And
although not something I'd want to do at 58.
Well,
of course, he's fairly wealthy at this point. So
yeah. And at 76 years of age, on February 20th, 1993, Lamborghini died after suffering a heart attack. The Kucherach model, which placed the Aspetta as Lamborghini's best-selling car, was in production from 74 to 88.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the car that I'm more well known with.
Right.
Other cars like the Silhouette, which was introduced in 71, just was a sales disaster because it was not built very well.
Yeah, Lamborghini had a pretty bad reputation for a number of years.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's probably in the late 90s, early 2000s, they really kind of made a good return to
Right.
being a high quality, like with the Aventadors and some of those. So
Well, that's all I got. Did you learn anything?
I did. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I very much enjoy these when we inspect the man.
Yes.
So
again, I want to apologize to the Italian community if I butchered any names or places in Italy in the Lamborghini family or any other business of his. Please don't hold that against me. As always, you can make comments to wherever you get the Sports Deep Dive podcast, whatever platform you listen to us to. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors. We're always looking to educate more people in the area of sports and business.
That's right.
Before I sign off, Brian, do you want to tell people about you and where they can find you?
Sure. I have a YouTube channel, Random Things with BK. You can get that on YouTube or Facebook or Instagram or TikTok. And you can reach me at Random Things with BK at Gmail.
All right. I am Rogers Harrison. You can find me on Blue Sky. I'm at 318 North in Blue Sky. So until next time, this is Rogers Harrison along with Brian Kaparik saying so long, everyone.